This music is always so helpful. It faded itself out. Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. And apparently this is what I sound like today. Water, good des. So I'm having an issue with my bot this morning. I am getting a lot of fun and interesting errors that I have never seen before. So I tried launching the bot directly instead of as a Windows service, and I'm getting another error, which is kind of telling me that it might actually be my connection to my connection to Twitch. Dukasoft is like, I work just fine, thank you. You do, and you're amazing. Best bot non-bot bot ever. Excuse me. So there it is. Best non-bot bot ever. You know, you could just have your bot completely replace mine. Yours is already so much better than mine is. We're gonna do some bot work today. I'm sorry for those of you that don't enjoy bot work, but hopefully I'll be kind to myself and not dox myself. I really have not looked at this project in a while. The most recent time I opened it was when I gave Dukasoft access to it, but that was just to make sure that the main branch was the one that I have in production currently. In production, the one that I'm currently using on Twitch. So let me go back to main. Dang it, I have pending changes. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this thing. So this is my bot-ish. This is the one that's currently out there, but I've been doing some updates to refactor it. And the last time I touched it was GitHub. One Lion. Automated Realms, but it's not a public repository. It will be eventually, but right now I was just learning, not even right now. When I was first creating it, September 19th, 2022 was my last update. I was just learning how to put a bot together. And so I really have no idea where my keys and everything are that are used for making all of the connections. Boo! Did you just scare me? Please don't scare me. Wait, Amin is here. Oh, okay. That needs to not be there. That's very confusing. Go there, like that. Okay, so here's what we has. I want to know if maybe it's my connection to Twitch that's not working the way that it's supposed to, and that's what's preventing the app from starting. So we're going to try starting the hosted API. Project and find out if there are any exceptions. My throat is feeling so weird right now. This is how I used to run my bot. I just opened an instance of Visual Studio and ran it. And that's really bright. Anyone? Huh. Interesting. So this top connect to Twitch button on the top right is the one that allows me to listen for redeems. And this one here is the one that, oh, that's just a breakpoint, not an error. I mean, wants to keep going. You are tested. So far I'm not seeing any issues. Oh, there's an issue. Unless that's just a timeout because too many breakpoints. I mean, it says we joined the channel. No, it doesn't. Finish joining channel, response error, nonce, some code. Probably N once, but I have no idea. Anyway, let's find out. Hello, automated realms. Yeah, it's not getting any of the chat messages. Why are we breakpointed now? There we go. SQL exception. And changed my database at all. Excuse me, what's going on with my database? That's scary. Nice, Tukasoft. Yes, that is so cool. That's scary. That's very scary. Let's go to super secret screen for a second. Oh, wait, did you just connect? My connection is going really slow to the database, and the database is on this computer. Hi, good VJ. What I think is happening is that my connection to the database is timing out. And that's going to be an issue because our current project is also using the data. Wait. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing, which there's a little circle with an X indicating that I don't have a connection to the database. This is scary. What's going on? Database is taking a nap. Please hold. Close. Close. You stay. And you stay. Close. Close. That is actually kind of concerning, though. So what I was going to do is open SQL Server Management Studio. Go here. It's a mess. And the only reason I'm hiding it is in case any of my saved connections are the ones that are showing that I don't want to show. And as soon as I can get logged into Angie SQL, I will bring the screen back up. It's not looking promising. Okay, I'm going to try from another computer now. Sumimasen. SQL. It's so odd because I'm pretty sure that my current financial tracker is connected to that database. Excuse me, what are you connected to? I'm starting to freak out a bit. Don't mind me. Should have used Excel. You're absolutely right. What if it's just that my SQL Server instance is not running? Services. Microsoft SQL Server. Or just SQL Server? I don't know. Yeah, SQL Server Angie says that he's not running. Start the service. Windows cannot start service on local computer. Start the service. SQL Server configuration manager. Why don't I see that? I'm not even seeing my SQL Server configuration manager, which I know I installed on this machine. This is bad. Oh my gosh. Microsoft SQL Server tools. That's Profiler. That's Install Center. Okay, let me at least see if I have the database files still on disk. That would be a good thing. Where do I put my database? Does anyone know what drive I usually keep my database on? Data. You do not have access to this folder. Access is denied. what's going on. Hello, Max. Yeah, so I found the folder that has all of my databases, and it's telling me that I don't currently have permissions to this folder. And Dukasoft played it for you. That's nice of you. Like, that entire folder, the owner got changed to an owner that I cannot see. And it's not letting me update the owner. Programming right now, Minecraft and Unity with a YouTube tutorial playlist. Those are my favorites types to go through. That's really cool. I hope you have lots and lots of fun with it. And I access it through SSD external? No, just external. Wait, okay. So you financial management tracker in Excel, I mean Access, which is worse than Excel somehow. Which database are you connecting to? How are you working? Here we are. Oh, well, that's good. The database for my financial stuff is on a different computer. But that, oh. Max is saying, even though I don't understand much, but I try, yeah. I mean, if they have instructions that are easy enough for you to follow, then you can just follow it again until you understand more. And then the more you do it, the more you'll understand it. So I definitely encourage this type of learning. My plan is to understand as much as I can, then later program a game like Minecraft with crafting and stuff, so I have experience in this type of game. Even bought a piano for the Minecraft music. Awesome! Super cool. Yeah, it sounds like you're definitely getting into it. Yeah, not only for the Minecraft music, but still, I mean, you can do it for Minecraft music. Program files. MS SQL Server. What is happening? Yeah, Docker with SQLite does sound simpler. It's just that I already had a SQL server on this computer. So I was like, why not go ahead and use it? Take your mix. And I don't know very much about Docker. So setting up Docker on this machine would be more complicated than using my current installation of SQL Server. An unexpected error is keeping you from creating the folder. The thing is that my D drive is an internal hard drive. Yeah, there's something going on with my D drive. This is not good. Tools. Check. Yeah, hopefully a reboot will solve it, but that also keeps me kind of dead in the water. Computer management. Storage. Disk management. Like we're gonna, yeah, we can still do stuff. There's just been, there have been so many things that are just being weird lately. One of them was installing the latest OBS is keeping me from being able to choose secondary monitor as my display monitor, or primary monitor as my display monitor, is what I meant to say. Because right now, the one that you guys are looking at is actually, it's not even that. It's only letting, or you guys aren't looking at any of them, it's only letting me use the monitor on the right as my display caption monitor. D drive. Properties. It says it's healthy. And it says it has 255 gigabytes of free space. At least I'm using the right monitor. But yeah, I can't copy any of the files over from... It's so weird. Let me just show. Okay. So specifically, actually, let's check this folder too. Edit dull. No. Advanced. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So system currently owns this MS SQL folder. And the data folder within the MS SQL folder says that I must have read permissions to view the properties of this thing. And there is no current owner of it. And it's like, can I just change it to system? It's like, no, you can't. And I've seen this happen with like Xcopy, when you don't copy over the owner and all of the folder properties. Oops. But I haven't done anything that touches this folder. And that's what's concerning to me, is that there may have been something else that touched this folder. Yeah, I can't get into it. And I have admin privileges on this computer, so I should be able to go wherever I want. Oops. Yeah. Look at it go. So many errors. So many errors. I don't have time for this. Somebody tell him. I am on my admin account. Whatever. That's stuck like that now. I don't know what would have changed to cause this issue. But I'll do a restart after the stream. Maybe we'll still be able to do stuff with the project. All I have to do is... I'm just going to pull it over here because it's easier. Change my SQL connection. Yeah, I think what I'm going to have to do is essentially copy the contents out of that by using something like the standalone Red Hat boot, or just some Linux standalone boot, and then get access to the hard drive that way, and then copy the data over. What about you, PowerShell? Windows Terminal, Admin, D drive, Program Files, SQL Server. There we are. So can I CD into data? I can. Can I copy data to, let's say, C hold? Yeah. Are there switches that I need on CP for the directory? Hey, yo, internet. PowerShell copy folder. I guess I can do it the PowerShell way. Copy item path recurse. Ha! A device. So this is the error that I'm getting. A device which does not exist was specified. Oh, live coding. So if you weren't here for that beginning part, I've lost access to my data folder in my MS SQL folder that has all of my databases. And I have no idea how it happened. But I can't get into my data folder. I'm on an account that is an administrator. Can't get into my logs folder. And I mean, I'm okay with losing the data from this because the data that I care about is on a different computer, but I just really have no idea why this happened. Yeah. And every time that I go to try to update the owner, yeah, I haven't tried turning it off and on again because I didn't find out until the stream just started. What did I say? I haven't tried any turn it off and on agains because I didn't find out until we started the stream. Yeah, I think that's what I said. But I do have a couple of ways to get to the data on the hard drive. It's just really, really weird that it happened. And it would have had to have been sometime between Friday's stream and today that it happened. And I wasn't even on this computer all weekend until this morning. Dukasoft. Is there a Windows update? My back itches. Okay. What I should have done is updated my secrets so that only my app settings are going to work, which means that we'll be using local DB for now for the database. And I have no idea what state my local DB version of the database is. You guys are crazy. You exist to me, dang it. We need the API. No, we need the migrations project, right? Which means that the migrations project is the one that probably has the user secrets that I need to. I mean, I trust Thindle's no docs and all, but. And actually, I don't even care because this is just pointing to, yeah, these are my secrets for this project. They're just pointing to my local SQL Server instance, and that's all. So anyway, what I'm doing is I'm saying don't use that because it's broken, and instead use app settings, which should be pointing to local DB, MS SQL, and we can do update database to make sure that I have the latest migration. Wait, how good was my timing? Not good at all. Today's not turning out to be a very good day. So it is a holiday in the US, and the way that Sagetti works is they only honor like 6 holidays in a year versus all of the typical banking holidays, government holidays, whatever they're called. And so our client honors all of the normal holidays. And we were at this point where they were like, you aren't allowed to work when the client has a holiday, but we aren't going to give you admin time or anything like that. You have to take PTO. And I was like, so you're telling me when I have to use my paid time off that I have a limited amount of just because our client has a holiday that we don't? Doesn't make sense. So anyway, long story short, they're like, well, you can work, you can build a client as long as by the end of the year you take X amount of time off. But you choose when. But you have to take that time off. And I'm like, sure, whatever. I'm not going to fight this. Okay, so anyway, local DB is now updated to the latest database version. We're going to see if the app runs, and then we're going to do more work on it. I'm trying to think of all of the things that I've recently put on this computer that could have the potential to have caused an issue like this. And so the things that I installed on Friday was this application for being able to turn an image into a an image into a projected texture onto a plane. Or it actually gives you a camera essentially that you can position in front of the image so that you can turn it into a something that you can walk through. This is what I'm talking about, dang it. This thing here. So it sets up a camera for you based off of an image. You take that into Blender. You create a few planes, a few simple geometries, and then you can move the camera through it. I was trying that, but I only got like, I don't know, 10% of the way in before I started working on something else. Can you try taking ownership? Yes, absolutely, I can try that. Except that it tells me that I don't exist. Okay. Same issue. And then if I do it without the replace, yeah, absolutely. So if I change this to system, which is what it should be, and I don't replace the owners on subcontainers, then it's unable to set new owner on data. A device which does not exist was specified. Mojo Fawad is like, any other SQL haters in here? Not me. I mean, I like the ease of use of SQL because it's what I'm most familiar with. I have trouble thinking in terms of a NoSQL database. Is that long enough for you to get the error message? No good options, but FYI. This is a hardware issue, probably. Sumimasen. Yeah, that's where I'm like, I can just use something like a Linux boot and access the disk that way. I've done that before. Okay, dismiss the message. Thanks. Yeah, I'll look at it after the stream. Probably after my work day because I have a lot to do. And I'm getting emails left and right. It's just gonna keep going, just like a wonderful day. Okay, so no payees. I do have some line item types that were scaffolded by my migration and no accounts. I don't have any way to enter new items for my lookup lists at the moment. So I'm just going to go directly into the database and add them that way. Yeah, I'm excited about that work too. Going to .NET 6. Any kind of like modernization efforts, I really love those. Okay, so let's add some records. Do I have any account types? That would be important. I have account types scaffolded by my migration. So this one is going to be called my checking. Account ID 1. Deleted is false. Last updated is now. Sort order is 0. You were supposed to default to now. Whatever, I don't care. My savings is numéro 2. Kind of Spanish French there. My savings 2, not deleted. Sort order 1. My credit charge, which I think is 3. Yeah, 3. Not deleted. Place. Okay. And order 2, which means that now when we take a look, we should have some accounts. We should have some accounts loaded. Yay. Good. We need a few pay twos, and our pay twos will be view data, category payee, payee. Okay, so our payees will be Vindy's, which is our favorite fat food restaurant. We had I don't know. English tutor. It's my favorite. I don't know what to call it. Convenience store. Oh yeah, right. My local grocer. There it is. My local grocer. It's gonna be a good pay too. And then just do goodbye. Because he needs to get money. We're gonna give him lots of money. All right, those are my payees. I don't have any categories. Yes, I do. So we do have a grocery store category, and my local grocer ID 3 is going to be a 1. Category 1, payee ID 3. Dugabot's just going to be another actually, what would we call Dugabot? I'm going to call him a streaming service. Or is 5. At food is 1. And right, English Chateau is a restaurant, we'll say. Okay, good enough for me. We have some payees. Deposit raisins is the other one that I need. And some deposit raisins are regular paycheck. Buzz, 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 buzz. Sort order 0. House. The row hasn't been updated. Why not? Last updated needs to be popular. Oh my gosh. What is today? 2023 02 20 midnight. Sounds good to me. What are other deposit reasons? Things that I have gotten are like state income tax return. Because, you know, those happen. Just because, that's a great one. Just because. Oh, yeah. One that I get all the time, thanks to you guys. It's like once every 4 months. I call it Twitch revenue. Anyway, we have some in there now. And transfer reasons. Transfer, is there no such thing as transfer reason? I don't have transfer reasons, do I? And that's something that I do like to track. Transfers. Yeah, I don't have any transfer reasons. I want to keep track of that at some point. Like right now, I think I might just put it as a memo where it's like my checking to my Cheddit charge is a credit card payment kind of thing. But I still think that I would like to have that in a dropdown. It's just, would I require there to be something in the dropdown? I don't think so. Anyway, I think we're good enough along that we have data that we can use to pick up where we were last. And that is, we have the ability to add new transactions, to change the transaction items to pending or not pending. So for example, if on the 23rd of last month I ate at Vindy's and it cost me $23.87 with a, actually it probably wouldn't ever be that number, but whatever, with a sales tax, with a salsa tax of $2.45, and I paid for my checking and it posted the day after 26. And then pushing the backspace erases. You know what? We're just going to submit it and see that it shows up down here as pending, just so that we can show that we can also add a posted date after the fact. And there we go. And it is no longer pending. It has a posted date, which means that this account summary up here will show a checking account. Oh, I paid with my checking account. Why would I pay with my checking account? It doesn't even have money in it. With my checking account that has now negative $32, let's say that it was pending, then this would actually show a current balance of $0 with a pending negative $26.32 and an adjusted balance, which means taking all of the pending money and treating it as if it was already used. Then my adjusted balance will reflect the actual usable amount in that account. I did a rhyme. So anyway, let's do something more helpful, like putting in some money as our starting amounts. So let's say that my account started getting tracked on January 1st, 2022, because I don't think any of our sample stuff is going to go back further than that. Oh, right. Right. I kind of want there to be a starting balance deposit reason. But the thing is that you would only have one starting balance deposit reason per account. So I don't really want it to show up in my deposit reason dropdown. So I need some way to keep track of those. But for now, I'm just going to put it in there. We'll just always have it at the end. Because I'm not going to have more than 99 deposit reasons, right? Who knows? And actually, the way that I could do it is like this. Okay, so just so that I can have these in here, I'm going to go ahead and do 2022 in my checking account. Still has that issue apparently. In my checking account, we have a starting balance of let's have some money to work with. Let's do 2123.4.56. Oh my gosh, he's so clever. And then of course I don't have a way to put a posted date directly in here. So I have to do it from this thing down here. 0101 2022. Okay, so I have a starting balance record. For that one, let's do one for savings. Now I'm going to need a way to do this in an account setup stage where it will be required for you to put a starting balance, even if it's 0. And then you'll be able to modify that starting balance and starting date and all of that fun stuff. However, I don't want starting balance to be in this dropdown. So I have a clever way of doing that. At least I think it's clever. Okay, and then my credit card is going to start off at $0. Let's say that I just opened this credit card. Okay, so in order for me to still have a starting balance, and a record that I can use and not have it show up in here, all that I'm going to do is set that to deleted. That way the starting balance deposit reason exists. It's just not going to show up in our drop-down menus. Except that it did. Sumimasen. So that'll be something to update in our logic for getting our lookup list, is to not send the deleted records. But okay, that just proves that the application works the way that it's supposed to using local DB. That's great. So the point is that you actually don't need to adhere to any specific database. You could set up whatever database you want as long as Entity Framework has a provider for it. Or is it called provider? As long as Entity Framework has a whatever the thing is called and you configure that yourself. But it will be able to work. I'm still thrown off by the data folder thing. Like the other things that I have been downloading and using are checkpoints or pickle tensors. And there are these new types called safe tensors that are intended to have like a hash that proves that the thing that you're using has not been modified. But what are the chances that I downloaded a checkpoint file that had malicious code in it and I ran it to generate AI images? It's pretty high, actually. Anyway, so since the app currently works, refresh, fixed transaction refresh on, new transaction, which should be good. I added files? When did I added files? Oh, when we were working through the issue. So I am going to turn this into a branch real quick. On Wednesday of last week and Friday, I was showing an issue that I was having with my work product, and I was able to reproduce it in this thing. And Tyron gave me a really, really helpful link about it. So I'll show you what the issue is in a second and then provide that link in case anyone else is working on a WPF app or even a MAUI app where they are using WindowChrome to customize the title bar, or you're trying to mix using a WebView 2 control with any other control and have them lay on top of each other. So have any other control sit on top of a WebView control, and then having it not actually sit on top of the WebView control. So this is the WPF WebView 2 resize area issue. So this is actually not, bring the changes. This is not an issue that I put into my repo because it's not something that I need to fix in this app, at least not yet. But when we do the MAUI version of this, it's going to be an issue because I'm going to want theming. And with theming, I want to be able to target the title bar and the border and everything so that it responds to the color theme that my application is. And we've seen this before. Like, here's a window that if I change the color theme, the title bar responds to that color theme. The border for it responds to that color theme. So we really can't see it right now very well, but there's a blue border on it. And when I was in dark mode, awesome. Dukasoft, thank you. When we're in dark mode, we can see that it has a purple border when it's active, and it is a gray border when it's inactive. And then, of course, the title bar is a black background with white foreground, or off black background. So I know that you can do it in desktop apps in general on Windows. The thing is, doing it with a WPF app or MAUI app has proven to be really difficult, especially when you're trying to support Windows 10. Anyway, set up the WPF project to show the issue. I'm going to commit and push. And then maybe I'll put a README in that branch just to exemplify, just to describe what the issue is, to maybe have it looked at by the community and eventually fixed. But what I really need to do is what Tyron said, create a minimum reproduction of the issue. So the skeleton app with so yeah, I'll talk through the setup now. I created a new WPF project, set it to use SDK.Razor, added the WebView control. It's a .NET 7 app. Added these. I keep thinking that there's something that you need to add to this top area, but there isn't. Not for that. So then in app.xaml.cs, this is where I do all of my service collection stuff for dependency injection. And then I registered my services container. What are they called? DI container into the app.xaml resources dictionary, an entry called services, so that it's available throughout the entire app by doing application.current, turning it into an app object. Yeah, it's called EF Core Providers. Thank you, Dukasoft. Man, you're just too kind, man. You're so helpful, so cool. I really appreciate having you here. But yeah, so what I was saying earlier is that the financial management project or thing will work with just about any provider. You'll just have to add and configure the provider yourself. Right now it's configured to use SQL Server. But if you configure the provider yourself, then you should still be able to use the same models project. Goodness griefus. I'll get back to that in a second. Okay. So anyway, I set up my dependency injection for the project, for the in-app, and in main window, because I want to be able to target and control the border, the title bar, background and foreground colors, I am using WindowChrome at runtime, by the way. I'm using a WindowChrome, which is the easiest way to take away everything that there is for your basic window control and then replace it with whatever you want. So here is an example of me replacing the entire window, having a grid that will be the 2 rows, the title bar that takes up an automatic amount of space, which starts off at 34. Densities, points, I don't know what units these are. Thickness. And the second one is the rest of the content that will take up the rest of the window size. In the first row, here's the recreated title bar. I do want to finish adding the minimize, maximize, restore, and close buttons, so I'll do that today. Done. Not really. It was cool that it knew that that's what I want to put there. But that's what goes here. This is the title bar area, of course, with the icon and the text block. Icon will need to be WindowChrome.hitTest visible true, because I want to be able to left click on the image and show the context menu, just like you can do anywhere else or in any other application. You left click on the icon for the application, you get a context menu. The second row is the rest of the content, and the rest of the content is a grid with 2 rows. The first row, I made a native WPF control just to show what I want the behavior to be. And then the second row is the Blazor web view, and that's the thing that is having the issues. So the issue is when using WindowChrome, and this is specific to using WindowChrome with a Blazor or with a WebView 2 control. Oh, we actually need to set the WPF app as the startup. Okay, so when using the WindowChrome to make the entire window customizable, so you can see here that I have the background of the title bar set, and I actually do have the foreground set as well. I just don't currently have any way to find the color. So let's do background, dynamic resource, title. Wait, not you. Anyway, since we're doing this manually, it doesn't really matter. I currently have manually set the background color to black. So I'll manually set the foreground color of the title bar, of the title text, to white for now. That way you can see a change. So that's how easy it is to control this. I could bind this to a dynamic resource, change the resource at runtime, and it'll update the background and foreground colors just like that. Super easy. Couldn't have asked for an easier way to do it because everything else has been difficult. But up here, oh, I guess the text block down here also needs to be visible. So right here, you can see that I have a, that's really odd. I have a native WPF text block. And when I mouse over, you can see that I get the resize cursor. And it looks like the same amount of space that you would get from any other application's resize cursor. So the entire resize hit area is normal. I don't understand what's going on with the control being shifted to the left so far, though. That's really odd. But it doesn't matter. So the issue is now coming into play when I have a WPF, or sorry, a WebView 2 control, and my hit size, the hit area for the WPF, for the WebView 2, no, what am I saying? The hit size of the resize area is much smaller compared to what it is for native WPF controls. You can see that I'm just moving the mouse hopefully straight up and down. And as soon as I hit the border of the WPF control, I lose my resize handle. Even though I'm expecting it to work exactly the same way as a native WPF control. And the reason it's not is because of this existing issue here. And this issue is specific to the WebView 2 always being on top of other WPF controls. So if I had these two stacked on top of each other, then you would never see the WPF text block. That's odd. There's so many weird things going on. Like, why am I able to drag the window? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's not the issue that I'm worried about at the moment. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so this GitHub issue here, for those of you that are trying to use a WebView 2 control inside of a WPF or MAUI application, will tell you about the WebView 2 control being treated differently. It does not have the ability to be, not to be, people with their double negatives. It does not have the ability to not be the topmost control. And the reason why is because WebView 2 uses Hwind hosting, which is why it is the top level object. Since it uses Hwind hosting, that means that it's using the same thing that the native window itself is using. And that's why it's sitting on top of the resize area of the window. But anyway, we are working on adding visual hosting support, which will allow WebView 2 to be used independent from an HWind. That will allow you to overlay WPF controls over WebView 2. However, we do not have this support yet. For now, could you perhaps have them above the WebView 2? And that was June 2020. Are there GitHub samples? There are GitHub samples of customizable title bars using WindowChrome. There's another one that is using WinUI 3 with the title bar API. None of them use the WebView 2 control for the UI. So there's nothing, essentially there is no example that I've been able to find so far, and I've done a lot of research, but I could be missing a lot of stuff still because I'm only one person. I have not found any examples that show a WPF or even MAUI. Well, I would prefer WPF to be what I'm currently using in production. But a WPF app with a Blazor WebView control with a customizable title bar where you don't lose something. So sometimes I'll lose the ability to re-render the title bar immediately after changing the background color at runtime. So I have to click off of the screen and then back on. I have lost the ability to click drag the title bar even after trying to restore functionality to it. I have lost the ability to, what else? Oh, I have seen so many examples that use the content extends into title bar, extend content into title bar property at startup. And that has its own issues because, again, that's the whole thing where it's covering up the native WindowChrome and you lose all of the functionality. You have to rebuild it yourself. I've lost the ability to have a WebView 2 control inside of the application using something like a data template. But looking through all of this stuff and reading through and getting ideas and then figuring out someone already tried that and it's broken. We are now here in January 2020, just last month, 2023. But yeah, there's still no update on it. Oh, yeah. This is the one where they are talking about, I think, the resize area being so much smaller. When the WebView 2 takes the entire main window space, I can't resize the main window. So that was the case when we had a border thickness of 0. We lose our resize handles on the left and, well, we don't currently because I tried this thing here. So let me get rid of this real quick. Okay, so we lose our resize handles on the left and right of the application. So having a border of 1 at least gives us 1 pixel of resize area. And as we talked about on Friday, having a border thickness of 8, which is the standard size of your resize area, is not a viable option. Having a margin on the Blazor WebView of 8088 for left, top, right, bottom is also not a viable option because it does not look good. I mean, it may look decent in this app, but the app that I'm working on has a background that has a very slight gradient and an image. And that image gets clipped on the left and right, and it's really, really noticeable in dark theme. But those are options that if we have to, if push comes to shove, that's where we'll have to go with it. Didn't I give you your border thing? Oh, right. And then another thing was the thing that you saw me have up here, which is adding this non-client frame area. This is the closest that I've gotten to adding some outer padding to be able to resize, but it's only given me like 1 pixel extra. And it gives me this other border that you can see on other windows, like this one, it's currently pink because it's running. So it's getting controlled somehow by the application, but I need to figure out how to control the color of that non-client area, which is the entire thing that this whole process is about, controlling the color of the non-client area. Non-client being the control captions, the outer border, and yeah, and the title bar background. So anyway, as promised, let's go ahead and add our restored, minimize, maximize, and close. From, oh yeah, that's how I was doing it. I've been fighting WPF all day. I know your frustration. Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate you having empathy for my plight. All right, where are my buttons? Caption buttons. My caption buttons belong in a stack panel in grid column 1. And I will have 4 buttons. First button is my minimize button. And it is going to have a tooltip, a toolbar, tooltip of minimize. Thanks for not bringing your mic into the toilet. And have a command of system commands. How do we do this in here? System. I don't know how to do this in WPF. I have it programmatically, which is what I'm looking over here for. There is one more thing that I think is the cause of all of this. And if I can get this one thing to work, then everything that I am worried about, or not worried about, but focused on trying to get to work would not be an issue. Window, Chrome, caption buttons. Oops. Those are the styles, but where are the buttons? This is definitely the style sheet that I'm using for the buttons. Gosh. I don't think that I ever turned on use arrow caption buttons. Let's see what that does. I'm a troll, not a monster. Do you know how to float something on top of the rest of the UI being removed from the visual tree? Think CSS position absolute or the default. I don't know how to style in WPF. I apologize. My assumption is that you have some kind of dynamic resource set for the positioning, and you give it a drag event, or you bind to the drag event, whatever that means. I would use ChatGPT for that one. System commands dot minimize window. Somebody give me an example of using that syntax. Here we go. Command binding source equals x stat. Yeah, I would not have remembered this on my own. You know what? I am going to copy all of this. Okay, so what did I add here? I added I wonder if these are given to us for free or not. It's probably coming from a third-party library, these extra styles. But we'll get to that. This added a minimize button, which I'm going to style differently than this. The command for it, which is binding source equals x static commands minimize window. So we get these for free, for sure. Those are part of the regular functionality. We get a width and a height, which again, I said that I'm going to style these all. Oh, and it's inside of a canvas too. So I'm going to style all of these using a style sheet. My customer has customized things beyond the limit of what things should be customized. Why is close the first button? Why does it say the tooltip is closed? This is minimize. Okay, I don't want this. I don't want style yet. Well, I don't even know what that does for us. Normalize button. This is called restore. Close enough. Okay, let's just see what this looks like real quick. It's not going to be pretty yet, but we'll add styles. All right, so we can see now that we have these buttons in the top right that are our minimize, maximize that do work. So that was the maximize, that's the minimize button. And let's see if my mouse is good enough to hit this close button. I think the close, I was going to say, I think the close button is too close to the edge and it's getting covered by it. But we have all of our buttons back. So now let's just style those. Style. How do you style buttons that you can't target? Why? By creating a style sheet, of course. Oops. I keep turning on my load DPI. decrease DPI button. That makes my mouse move super duper slow. Anyway, style sheet. Choosing my style sheet. Styles. WindowChrome styles is what I'm going to call it. You know what? I have never had luck. I haven't had luck so far with using add new file for things like resource dictionaries and style sheets because when you create them using add new file, it sets up your CS proj for telling it whether it's a resource and needs to be compiled or if it is some other type of file. It sets it up properly. So I found much better luck finding it here and adding, a resource dictionary. And like I said, we'll call this WindowChrome styles. Styles. Baka. Okay, and in this dictionary, we're going to have, nope. We're going to have some magic styles that are going to appear out of nowhere. Okay, and right now I currently have them set to dynamic resources. And these dynamic resources are actually property bindings. What are they called? Dependency properties on my custom control that gives me a window with this WindowChrome applied to it so I can use the same WindowChrome throughout the app. So if I fix it in one place, it's fixed everywhere kind of thing. But we are going to do this in a more hard-coded way. So this is going to be, sure. Although you need more transparency. Can I do it like this? No. Let's put it at like 3.3. Transparency. What about you? The button text. Yeah, that's going to be hard because that needs to be based off of dark mode or light mode. And right now we are, again, hard coding it as dark mode just so we can see the change. So I'll go ahead and leave it at that. And then the regular button's background is going to be transparent. And the foreground is going to be white, which is what this is. White. And for the close button specifically, it's going to have a background color of red on hover and white on white foreground. Not that that one has ever worked for me. So what this does is it targets anything that uses this style name, or not anything, a button that uses this style name, and it gives it the inherited stuff from caption button style, as well as a setter that gives us a content so that the stuff inside kind of looks like an underscore, a little bit higher than an underscore. Same thing with minimize, same thing with restore, same thing with close. There are still some properties that I'm missing, like the collapse and then toggling between the maximize and restore button. So like the restore button would be collapsed when we are already restored, and the maximize button would be collapsed when we are maximized. Kind of stuff. But anyway, let's see what this looks like. Oh, we actually need to use these styles now. Do I know how to use the styles? Yeah, we use these right here. And this is going to be static resource. Dude, why did you lose your multi-caret? You weren't supposed to lose your multi-caret. Static resource. No. I don't know why that's not working the way that I'm expecting it to. Whatever. One at a time then. Pasta. Oh, I guess I can show you the way that the caption buttons are being recreated. I showed you how the colors are being set and the icon or the content for them are being set. But I didn't show the actual makeup of the button itself. When you use a control template like this, which is essentially what this is, you are getting rid of the original control template. So a button will no longer look like a button, which means that you're setting everything else up yourself. And the way that I chose to do this, following an example from somewhere on the internet, is by creating a grid. And in that grid, having a text block. And that text block will be the thing that has the content, which is the text for the button. And then another way that you could do it is you could have a stack panel with a rectangle and a text block positioned in a specific way. I don't know. I'm trying to learn. I don't want to, but I'm trying. Anyway, let's see what this looks like now. If you have any questions, I'm sure you'd ask. But don't nobody care about WPF. You can't. You have a static resource, minimize button style. Oh, I didn't actually add the resource dictionary. This is just such a weird. Okay, and the way that we do this is what? Resource dictionary source equals Mojo Phone. Well, first of all, what language? I'm gonna read this out because it is kind of funny. But what language, Mojo? Mojo said, "Bruh, I just asked my senior dev if I should be using Pascal case or snake case for a specific variable, which are the only two that I've seen in our code, and he told me to use camel case. All right, so C sharp, and what type of variable is it? Is it a field, like private field in a class? Is it a public field, publicly accessible field? Is it a public property? Is it a private property? Is it a const? Because those are the things that you consider. So a const, from what I know, and I could be wrong, consts are treated like properties in C sharp, which means Duca case. Wait, which means Pascal case. Wait, it grabs a value from a table, so not const. Const in C sharp is a field, whether it's public or private, doesn't matter. It's a field that has a value that is set at compile time and never changes at runtime. And it would have the keyword const in front of it. What is it called? Naming conventions. Okay, so here is one of the resources that I use. I don't know if it's outdated or not. It's 2021. You wouldn't think that naming conventions change too often. But if you look for constants aren't in there. It should have a link to a GitHub. Here we go. It has a link to this page, which is more up to date, VS 2022. It's specifically for editor config. But if you look at const, it says, actually, it doesn't give you the rule. Those are modifiers for const. But anyway, consider the following two naming rules. Constant fields are Pascal case, and non-public static fields are snake camel case. Are Hindenburg. I can't remember what the name of that one is, but you do the S underscore. But that's just an example. I don't think that that's the actual rule. Gosh, I can't find code style. I can't find the resource that I always use, but it's a GitHub page and it tells you what the rules are for .NET specifically. Oh my gosh. I can't find it though. .NET developer, template samples. Then you follow your company's rules. So it's better to be consistent than it is to try to enforce a new set of rules when a code base has already been following its own set of rules. In which case, I would recommend for your company using an editor config with all of your projects. That way, you get all of the IntelliSense stuff in Visual Studio that says, you're violating one of our naming conventions. Here's a green squiggly for you. Or actually, it wouldn't even be a green squiggly in most cases. It'll be the little 3 dots. That's here's a suggestion. Yeah, consistency is greater than right, because if you're consistent, then if your company ever decides we want to make a change to this rule, then you'll be able to find all of the places that that rule applies to and update them. But for the most part, that doesn't really happen. So it's just a matter of when we read this code and we see this convention, we know that this is a public property. This is a public field. Here it is, naming conventions and code styles. All right. This is from the .NET GitHub. It was last updated April 2022. We use Pascal casing to name all our constant local variables and fields. The only exception is for interop code, where the constant value should exactly match the name and value of the code you are using when calling via interop. But that's constants. It doesn't sound like you were referring to a constant, because again, constants would be something const, string, int, whatever data type. I really want to remember. Well, I guess in this case, the style sheet that I'm looking for is in this project, so I don't need to worry about trying to traverse namespaces or whatever. So I should just be able to go to Styles, WindowChrome. style, I think. But like there's this thing where you have to do like some amount of colons and commas and weird syntax if the resource you're looking for is in a different castle, is in a different project. There's a plural on that. Okay, so how about now? Do the styles exist in here? Yes, the styles do exist in here, and lo and behold, we have our control box with the hover on the buttons. The other thing that I know is going to bother me eventually is in a normal application, you are used to hovering over any part of the thing that can be considered the button. And when you use this approach that I'm currently using, you have to hover over the part of it that is the content before it will register as you hovering over the button. Even though the button does work. Oh, no, it doesn't. Yeah, so many crazies, so many weirdnesses. Too much to think about. But here, what you'll also see is my restore button did not change back to a did not my restore button, my maximize button currently looks like a restore button, even though it should look like a maximize button. So that's number one. But number two is when I did maximize the window, it didn't change to the opposite button. So you're actually backwards. And so that's code that we would need to restore as well. So now I have it as a maximize button, but it's still the maximize button because I didn't tell it to collapse on maximize and show the restore button. Point is, we do have our control captions now. You can see that their background color is different than the default background color of control captions. So let's go ahead and fix the functionality to set the collapse. And the way that we do that is we'll listen for the window resize event. I'm pretty sure. I'm looking looking at my existing code just to verify. Yeah, so what we should see already is by default, our restore button has visibility collapsed on it, which we do see. But on maximize or minimize, here it is, we have some things to set. So this is why I was giving everything a name. So we have minimize button, restore button, maximize button, and close button. We also have the border itself that doesn't have a name currently. I'm going to call window border. And here is, we're in app.xaml. Let's go to main window.xaml.cs. Oh, we already have it here. Here is our restored functionality for these buttons. This is going to be restore button, maximize button, and window border. No, window border. Why aren't you giving me window border? Did I not save? Do you already have a name somewhere else? All right, x.name is window border. Why are you acting? My window border. I was thinking maybe there was a name conflict. But, oh, duh. We can just do border thickness. Because this is the window. My bag. So border thickness 8 versus 1. And then these are going to be capitalized, delete. Okay, so now that should have restored the functionality for being able to change from the maximize button to the minimize button. I need to register on state change. No, this is protected override. Yeah, it should have just worked. I'm thinking it needed a rerun because that was a root edit adding a... No, because I was just adding logic. I don't know. Anyway, it worked that time. And you can see that it definitely changes from maximize to restore, and then from restore to maximize. But yeah, this is definitely supposed to be the border, this border here. And for some reason, I can't access that border programmatically. And there it is. Now I can. Like a magic. Okay. So yeah, it's not doing hot reload for that. But here we go. Maximize, we get a border of 0 and everything is placed correctly. Restore, we get a border of 1 and you can see that very, very slight border. But just enough to give me 2 pixels of resize border handle. So after doing that, we still have the same issue where the resize grip area is getting covered by the WPF control. Here's where the magic comes in. Here's the thing that I promised. Here is the one thing that I'm going to beat like a dead horse. That's terrible. That is such a terrible phrase. And it is that if I use the WindowChrome, this is what I suspect is happening. When I use WindowChrome, instead of having a resize area, a non-client area that is invisible and surrounds the window, the resize area gets pushed into the window, or the content is now overtaking the area that the resize portion would have been. And you would think that that's what all of this stuff is for, where it says I want my resize border thickness to be 8, which means that everything else will be pushed in 8 pixels and the actual content of the window wouldn't start until 8 pixels in. But watch what happens when I get rid of WindowChrome. So first of all, I get back the standard title bar, but oh yeah, there it is. You can see, and I pointed this out before, that I can move the mouse cursor all the way to the edge of the inside of the content. And as soon as I hit that non-client border area, that's when it turns into a resize handle. And then I keep moving the mouse left, 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 left. Looks like 8 times until the resize disappears. Same thing happens over the web view control area. So my resize area is outside of the usable window area. But as soon as I turn WindowChrome back on, my resize area appears to be starting at the edge and moves into the application's content area. Or maybe even straddles it. I don't know. It looks like 4 pixels inside, 4 pixels outside. And I suspect that that is the thing that I need to get working, which is somehow when I have WindowChrome turned on, get this resize area to start further out. Yeah, it's most evident with the top, where here is the edge of the window that I would expect to already have my resize cursor, but as soon as I hit that non-client area of the window, that's when it turns into my resize and goes into the app until I hit some other WPF content, hit testable content. If anyone has any thoughts on that, I would be extremely happy to receive it. But now that I've rehashed that entire situation and essentially created a branch that exhibits it, I'm going to do a check-in to this branch and say restored caption buttons and functionality. And then on Wednesday, I'll hopefully have dropped the WPF thing. And I am planning on doing Wednesdays so far. I haven't gotten any emails about surprise meetings, but I usually don't get those until 30 minutes before the meeting is going to be scheduled for. But I do have time blocked out on my calendar. Not that that means anything either. But I plan on keeping the Wednesday. If it gets too bad, then I'll move it to Thursdays. But I'll be back on Wednesday with hopefully a working bot and things will stop being broken. And I'll hopefully have given up on trying to find answers for this WPF thing on stream. And we'll just be working through the remaining issues from GitHub on our project. So I look forward to seeing you all then. I have been lurking on Simple Game Dev's channel, which we raid like often. You know who we haven't raided yet? You know who we haven't raided yet? Or at least not in a while. Oh, I don't know which one of you guys. So the one that has the least viewers is Zach Fear, is working on a pretty fun looking game. I just get anxiety attacks when I watch it. And I get slightly less anxiety attacks when I watch this guy, but we are going to raid Bardeki, whose channel says that it is intended for mature audiences. So if you don't want to see mature audiences content, then leave the raid. Otherwise, feel free to hang out with me lurking on his channel. I'm going to actually not be in his channel for too long because I need to restart the computer and just see if that fixes my hard drive issue. I'm not mature either, but I'm allowed to watch mature content. According to my demographic. But anyway, that's going to be it from me. I'll be back on Wednesday, like I said. Feel free to check out this video. It's going to be posted to YouTube sometime after 24 hours. Like Friday's video wasn't posted until this morning because I didn't remember to. Check out Thindle. Tukasoft, you're the best. He streams on occasion. Whoa! And my audio just kind of flipped out there. Anyway, find me on Discord. Check out No Docs. That's it for me. Bye for now. Ciao.